Hello and welcome. In the spirit of my brand new book, The Delicate Art of Transformation, I've been on a quest for truth. What does it actually take to create real, lasting transformation? And here you are on the precipice of something big. I don't think that's a coincidence that we should ignore. Welcome, my friend. Welcome to the True Transformation Summit. This is where true growth and transformation happens because sometimes it's about your mindset. You're working on your thoughts and your beliefs. Sometimes it's about connecting deeper with your body. Sometimes it's stepping into success and rewiring yourself for wealth. And sometimes it's a spiritual one. But when the right person says the right thing at the right time and it all clicks, those are the moments that make all the difference. And that is what this summit is here for. You're going to hear from some incredible experts who every single one I personally invited to be here because each of them have made an impact in my life. So listen with an open heart, do what they say, take what resonates, try the practices, get their free gifts, and let this space be the place where you find your next step. My name is Talia Joy. I'm your host. And if you want all the free gifts, the resources, and the only place where you can be entered for prizes, you can join the Insider Circle for free below. All right, without further ado, take a deep breath in. Think about what you are transforming, what you are here for. And let's dive into today's episode. Hello, Gemma. Welcome to the True Transformation Summit. How are you doing today, my friend?
I am wonderful and so happy to be here with you.
Oh, this is going to be such a great conversation. I'm so excited that you're here. Thank you for being here. I asked you to be here because I've been following along. I think you were saying, what was it, 8-9 years since your Manifesting Mom podcast and then the Success Revolution podcast and following along on social media. And I wanted to talk to you about perimenopause, about hormones. I love how not only passionate you are about it, spreading the word, helping others, helping other women, but also how you've radically changed your health in the last, fairly short amount of time. So I can't wait to talk about all of this and the journey that you're on. So thank you so much. You have such a beautiful way of, being grounded and also inspiring. So I'm just really excited that you're a voice in this summit and I can't wait for this conversation.
Me too. Thank you.
Awesome. So if somebody's new to your work, let's just start at the beginning, introducing you and a little bit about what you do.
Yeah. So it has been a journey. Like you say, you've been following me. I've been in the online business space for coming up to 9 years, but there's been many a metamorphosis. Transformation is certainly my middle name. And so I've gone through many undulations of different focuses, but a couple of years ago, I found myself in a situation where I was going through something that was really challenging for me at the time. And I had so much confusion around, and there was just, a big transformation happening in my body. And I didn't know at all what was happening. And that's when I really dove very, very deep into the world of menopause and perimenopause and the body and what was really going on and trying to kind of unpack what was happening for me. And so I had spent, my online business career. I mean, I've been in business for coming up to 20 years and I've always had a deep passion for the health space. So I started off as a personal trainer. I opened a gym. I ran a bricks and mortar gym for a period of time. And then I sold that when I had my twins almost 10 years ago. And then I went onto the online business space. And so I went into the manifestation space, mindset, subconscious, transformation, nervous system, like all of those things, which were really just me picking up different skills and understandings along the way, I think, to bring me to where I am at this point right now. But as I was working in the nervous system space and really helping women to be able to support themselves, to self-regulate so they could expand their capacity to really receive more of what they wanted in their life. But I found myself in a situation where my capacity was really tested and I was having all of these health issues that I'd never had before. And it started off really small. I just noticed that I would have a glass of wine when I was sort of like in my late 30s, early 40s, and I'd wake up the next day and feel like I had literally drunk the bar dry. Like I was like, how is this possible? One glass of wine, I feel terrible. My sleep was deteriorating to the point that I was waking at that point every other night. at, 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning and really finding it hard to get back to sleep. I was having really bad anxiety first thing in the morning that I was trying to do so many things to kind of work through. And I just didn't have answers. I was really confused as to what was going on. And it all really culminated for me when I was 41, almost 42. And I was away on holidays with my family for our annual Christmas holiday. And it was the first night we were there, and I went to bed as normal. And I woke up at midnight because the power had gone out and it was quite hot where we were, and we'd lost the air conditioning and the fans and all of those things. And I woke up, and I just woke up, and I had this, like, I felt like the oxygen had just been sucked out of me, not just the room. And I couldn't breathe. And I was like, just could not get my breath. And I was panicking and just almost feeling like the walls were caving in around me. And my husband, who's a psychologist, sort of looked at me as like, is everything okay? And I'm like, oh, I don't know what's going on. I was explaining to him, and he was saying to me, look, the power's gone out, everything's okay. And I just couldn't calm myself down at that point. And eventually he said to me, look, I think you're having a panic attack. And I was like, oh, okay, this is really odd, out of nowhere. And I was able to kind of, calm myself down enough to go back to sleep a couple of hours later. I woke up the next day and thought, God, that's really, really strange. And then the next day I had this very similar experience out of nowhere, but I just felt this rush of energy come through my body. My heart started racing and I was having another panic attack. Anyway, this continued like every other day. And along with this, I started to get this really debilitating, overwhelming fear of dying that was just pervasive in my mind. And we were away for 10 days and this was just constant. And I said to my husband, I don't know what is going on. He's like, when we get back, I want you to go and see your GP, who I'd been seeing for years. She'd seen me through all my pregnancies, all of the things. And so I went back to her and I sat down in front of her, and she took one look at me and she said, this is menopause. And I was like, menopause? I'm 41. I remember saying to her, I'm 41. I'm not even 42 yet. I'm still having a regular bleed. Like, what do you mean? Like, I was so confused, but she just looked at me. She's like, it's menopause. And she's like, I'm going to send you off for a DEXA scan. We'll check your bone density. We'll do a full blood work, hormones, all the things. But basically, welcome to menopause. This is your body going downhill now. She's like, just look, I know that you exercise, because she knew I used to be a personal trainer. She's like, keep lifting heavy weights. Make sure your nutrition's good. And at some point, she's like, I don't think we need to put you on hormones right now, but at some point we'll put you on hormones. And I remember walking out of there because I was like, no, like I was also like, I've got a heart condition. Like, so I walked away with like a notebook full of tests and all these things. And I remember walking out of there feeling even more confused than when I'd walked in. And in hindsight, I realized that confusion wasn't because what she was giving was confusing information. It was that my body was saying no. My body was like, this is not what you are being told it is. And I didn't realize at the time, but that was really the catalyst and the moment where everything changed for me. Everything changed in my business, everything changed in my life, in my relationship with my body. And I spent the next 2 years just with increasingly more symptoms, experiencing more things that my body was kind of bringing up for me, being more and more confused because I was just finding all of this information out there about perimenopause and menopause. And I was of the belief that it was just you stop your monthly bleed. Like that truly was the belief that I understood it to be. But I was getting all of this information from, the allopathic medical system saying, no, it's all these symptoms. It's this, your hormones are declining, your ovaries are basically, packing up and going on vacation. And it was just a really confusing time. But in that confusion, because I'm an experimenter. When everyone puts something in front of me, I'm always asking why, like why this, why that? And I just kept diving as deep as I could. And it took me a while because all I kept finding was the same information. Okay. Yes, this is perimenopause. There is a laundry list of symptoms. Your hormones are declining. At some point, you're going to need to replace them. Your ovaries basically are stopping producing estrogen. They're going into failure. And this is what it is. And everywhere I looked, I just couldn't find, I think, what I was really searching for, which is something that felt like truth to me. And it took me, my symptoms escalating to the point that I was having these panic attacks every other day. I was insomniac. I was not sleeping. I was waking at 1, 2 every morning. I was putting on weight. I had brain fog so debilitating. I had an appointment to see a psychiatrist because my husband was convinced I had really bad ADHD, and I couldn't even remember why I was walking into. I just wasn't able to function, and I just really went on this journey that just my body took me on this journey, I will say, of just escalating symptoms, and to the point that I couldn't get out of bed for 3 days because I was having constant panic attacks, heart palpitations where my heart was just going from like standard, 50, 60 beats a minute up to like 120 beats a minute for absolutely no reason. And I was having these things called adrenaline surges, which just feels like you get this rush of energy. It's like an adrenaline dump in your body, even though nothing has happened. And 3 days in bed, seeing a functional medicine doctor who just wanted to send me for more tests and put me on thousands of dollars worth of supplements. I had a doctor that just kept saying to me, this is menopause. We're just going to put you on hormones and that'll be it. And it was at that point where I couldn't get out of bed, and I had taken my kids to the movies, and I had to sit in the back of the movies with my legs up the wall because I was in such a state that I was like, I can't keep doing this. I cannot keep doing this. I can't function like this, and I need to really get to the bottom of that. And I think it's one of those things, like when you're ready, the teachers will appear, right? And until that time I wasn't. So all I kept seeing was all of these allopathic medical influencers and doctors like giving me all this, really scary information about a body that was breaking down. And it was at that point where I was like, I can't do this anymore. I refuse to believe that at this age of 43, almost 44 now, so this has been going on for 2 years, that I was just going to buy into this belief that my body was just deteriorating. My mum had died 2 days after her 43rd birthday. And I was like, this cannot be what life is like after 43. I refuse to let that be. Like, to me, these were bonus years, right? I refuse to let this be what my life is going to be, that it's just me patching up symptoms and hoping I'm not going to die anytime soon, and being scared that my body is going to break down. I'm going to get osteoporosis, dementia, and my vagina is going to fall off, because that was really what I was seeing everywhere. And as I said, when you're ready, the teachers will appear. And it was at that point that all of a sudden things started to unravel. And I started to see the truth of what was actually going on, what perimenopause and menopause actually are, and the lies that we were being told about our bodies. And then at that point was I able to take my health back into my own hands, because at that point I was outsourcing it. I was just outsourcing to everyone else. Like, what's going on? Tell me what the problem is. What do I need to do? What's the protocol? What's the prescription? And it was at that point my doctor had put me on the birth control pill, and I didn't even like taking Panadol. And I had taken the birth control pill in previous years, but she put me on the birth control pill because she thought that was the best thing to do for my symptoms. And I got worse. And I was like, that's it. I'm done. Done. Never will I step foot inside this practice again and talk to you about this, even though you're a menopause specialist, because this doesn't feel right to me. I'm going to listen to my body. And the moment I started listening to my body, she finally responded. And then I went on a journey for the next 12 months. The weight I'd been holding on to dropped. I lost like 16 pounds in 45 days, like that. It just literally just melted off me when I had been trying so hard. I stopped waking at 1 a.m., 2 a.m. every night, started sleeping through solidly. My brain came back online again. Like I was like, all of a sudden I was functioning again. The anxiety went away, panic attacks gone, heart palpitations gone. Like every single symptom that I had literally just disappeared, because I started listening to my body and giving my body what she actually needed. And I stopped treating my body like she was actually breaking down and malfunctioning. And, it took me, maybe 9 months. It wasn't really until 12 months after that I realized, oh my God, I'm symptom free. Like, I am not experiencing anything. And not only that, I feel the best I have ever felt. Like, I feel better. I just look better than I've ever felt. I feel better. I feel energized. I feel vibrant. I feel connected to myself. I feel connected to my husband like never before. I feel just completely just open to life and just receiving everything. Like, I just felt this sense of groundedness and sovereignty and connection that I had never experienced in my life, that I realized I had been seeking my entire life as well. And it all just started to fall into place. And then here I am. And I was like, as soon as I uncovered the truth of what was going on, I realized I could not keep quiet on this. I was like, I can't. Like, I cannot, because I couldn't find this information, that I was like I was finding and uncovering, I had to dig deep for it. And I was like, most women aren't going to dig as deep as I've dug for this. So I'm going to dig really, really deep, and then I'm going to share this information. And that's basically how the Queens of Perimenopause is, which is the brand that I now have started. That's really how it was birthed. And it's just me being an advocate for natural perimenopause, for sharing the truth of what is going on, and letting the world know about it. And that's where we are right now.
That is so incredible. I'm listening and I know how many people listening, how many women can deeply relate, and the things that you're saying. And, you know, I tend to always think, oh, it must be my energy, or I need to regulate, or I need to, and I discount hormones all the time because as you said, there's a laundry list of symptoms and they can feel very elusive. And, you know, there's different things, and to the more aggressive side that you were experiencing in your life. And so I feel like so many people listening, so many women are like, yes, I feel seen, I feel heard, because it's such a foggy, literally, journey for so many women. And like you said, we're kind of taught menopause happens when you're old/older and you stop getting your period. I remember my mom was like kind of frazzly and had like sweats she would talk about. And that was kind of it. I just feel like in my life, I've been waiting till I'm like 50-ish and then this thing's going to happen. But as you're talking about with perimenopause, first of all, that as its own phase that exists. I feel like that wasn't really talked about when we were younger either. So I just thank you, first of all, for sharing that story. It's so powerful. And so the first thing I just want to say is like, what is the truth as we start diving deeper into it? What is the truth that you have uncovered?
Yeah, I think the biggest truth, if I could sum it up, is that perimenopause and menopause is not a hormonal medical condition. It's a hormonal transition. If I could sum it up, I would just say that. Okay. So the truth is that perimenopause and menopause are asymptomatic. Okay. So this laundry list of symptoms that we're told to expect, you know, and it is long. Yes, it's the hot flushes. Yes, it's the anxiety. It's the weight gain. It's the brain fog. It's the itchy skin. It's the tinnitus. It's the heavy bleeds. It's the painful periods. It's the low libido. It's like the list is long. The last check I saw, there's a lady online who is positioning herself as an expert, had a list of 100 symptoms of perimenopause. And this is what women are led to believe. It's like it's this medical condition that is this laundry list of symptoms. The truth is that perimenopause is asymptomatic. That means there are no symptoms, okay? No medical symptoms. The symptoms that I like to say to women is basically that what you will experience is a deepening into yourself. It is a call and a beckon to deepen your connection with yourself. It's the wild woman era. Okay, it is where we literally stop giving a fuck because our hormones have transitioned us away from being the caregivers that need to take care of everyone else, prioritize everyone else, people please everyone else to make sure that everyone else is okay. And we literally go through a shift in estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, the main sex hormones. We are supposed to transition. Our ovaries are meant to stop producing estrogens, okay? And other parts of our body are meant to pick up some of that estrogen production, but we're meant to go through that because we are no longer in our reproductive mothering years. That is a natural biological transition that is built into the intelligence of our system. That's what we're supposed to go through. So, you know, and this is not to discount the very real reality that women are experiencing, like me, where you're not sleeping, you are gaining weight, the brain fog, all the things. Okay, yes, we are experiencing them. They are real, but they are not because of perimenopause. Perimenopause pulls back the curtain and shows you where your body and your system have been overloaded for too long and you have not been nourishing and nurturing your system, your entire system, your physical body, your emotional body, your metaphysical body, your spiritual body, you know, your relational body, all of those things. It literally pulls back the curtain and says, hey, psst, like, you're not living in alignment with what it means to be a woman, okay? Probably through no fault of your own because this information got lost in generations way before us. And we've been taught to live in this modern world, predominantly as small men, to be honest with you, to keep up with men. And that has taken us so far out of alignment with how we're meant to live. And perimenopause is really just that invitation. I call it the coronation. It's like that moment where women look down on the ground and go, fuck, I've got to dust my crown off, put it back on my head and adjust it and be this sovereign woman that I came here to be. That's what perimenopause and menopause is, because menopause is our wise woman years till we step into the crone era. It's where our entire role changes, okay? Like if you think about it in terms of tribal living, it's the role, it's that shift in role. Like we go from being the maiden, the youthful maiden, then we be going to play the maternal, the mother role. And then we are transitioning into that crone wise woman role where we're no longer hands-on, but we're guiding, we're guiding the other women in our tribe. We're guiding the children. We're not playing that maternal role. And so perimenopause is that period where we are transitioning out of that maternal role, that mother role, into that crone wise woman role. But it creates, there's some wildness to that because we're having to reclaim our sovereignty because we've had to be everything to everyone else. So that's what perimenopause really is in that spiritual phase, but it is a hormonal transition. Okay, like anything, it's not just we stop, producing certain hormones and then the next day it's like we're into this next layer. Our body doesn't work that way. Our body is so incredibly wise. It titrates our changes. It makes small incremental changes over time so that it doesn't overload our system. That's the whole precipice of it. So yes, we go through a fluctuation in terms of our production of hormones until it settles into its new norm, which is what happens in menopause, post-menopause. So this concept that some of the language that's used, I call it the menopause industrial complex because it is funded by Big Pharma. Mm-hmm. Okay. It's basically, what happens is the entire system incentivizes women to live out of alignment with being women and then profits on women when they become symptomatic. That's basically how it works. Mm-hmm. And it's incredibly capitalistic and it's incredibly profitable. I mean, this is an industry we're talking about. The menopause industry will soon be $1 trillion industry, and that's trillion with a T, $1 trillion. Like it is big business, whether it's, the allopathic system funded by Big Pharma or whether it is the supplement industry, like the wellness industry, the way it capitalizes on us as well. There's big money to be made. But, they will have you believe that it's all this hormonal decline and that's what's going on. But I just want women to know it is not that. Your body is not failing. It is not breaking down. Okay. This is not some, fault that nature has accidentally put into a woman that all of a sudden, we're in our 40s, you're no longer useful to us anymore because you can't produce children, so we're just going to put you out to pasture to decay and rot, which is what the medical system will have you believe. There's so much fear-based language that's used around this that talks about your ovaries failing, your hormones what's the word they use? Wildly fluctuating, erratically fluctuating. Like there's a lot of very fear-based language that's used. Look, don't get me wrong, your hormones will fluctuate. They will change, but even the words that are used to describe it really instill this energy of fear into women, which makes women outsource their power because all of a sudden we're positioned as being helpless. And this is the biggest issue that I have with how menopause is spoken about. If we're told our body is breaking down, our ovaries are failing on us, our hormones are declining, and the only thing you can do is replace them, then we're completely helpless. We are at the behest of this external exogenous substance to save us. It's like, thank fuck, some man in a white lab coat and a prescription bag uncovered this hormone in us because otherwise we'd be fucked. Is that really what we want to believe about our bodies? Because that's exactly what we're being told. We are being told that that's exactly what's going on. That without this person in a white lab coat who uncovered estrogen and progesterone and testosterone, and particularly estrogen, that we'd be completely fucked. What would we do? We'd just be all these decaying, osteoporotic, dementing, sexless, genital missing women. That's basically what we're being told.
That's what picture us all withery, our ovaries shrunken.
That's what we're being. But this, I could talk to you, Talia, about this because it really goes into the whole anti-aging. Mm-hmm. That the youth is where most of the women's value is. I've opened Pandora's box, and that's my job, and I'll happily do that. Not every woman wants to open Pandora's box and go deep into this, and that's fine. But once you open the box and you look in, it's pretty bloody frightening what you find inside. I will tell you, which is why I am so just adamant about speaking up about this and about sharing very uncomfortable truths that have literally, at this point that we're talking right now, got me cancelled online. So my entire Instagram account, I've got a community of 34,000 women who follow me, has been cancelled in the last week because I'm speaking up about HRT. I've gone out, I've very directly said HRT is a scam, and I have been reported and cancelled because I am spreading misinformation. And look, be what it will be, like it is what it is. But I will not stop. Like, I will not stop until this information is the standard of what women know, that women understand this is the most beautiful transition that we get to experience. Yes, motherhood is spectacular, without a doubt. It is spectacular because of what we get to experience, but there is nothing that beats the sovereignty that comes with being so deeply connected with yourself that you are able to care and nurture for yourself in a way that your body is asking for. There is nothing like that. There is nothing more empowering than being able to reclaim your body for yourself and nurture and nourish yourself in that way, not just for yourself, but also for generations to come. This is what I mean. This is how we transition into this wise woman era. And this is the information that we get to pass down as the mothers of our tribes, to be able to share this information and empower. And that's exactly what I'm here to do. What difference I can make in our generation, I don't know. I will do my best, but I know I have daughters, and I promise you that my daughters will not go through what I went through. They will be armed with the wisdom that is perimenopause as this most beautiful coronation, this spiritual transition, this gorgeous hormonal metamorphosis that our intelligent body has created for us to be able to thrive the way we're meant to. I just have an inordinate respect for the female body, right? This is a body. I mean, if you listening have had the opportunity to birth a child, to create a child, like, this is the body that can create a brain and a heart and an eyeball. Okay. Do you really think that this same body at the age of 40 is going to go, no, I'm just going to add this little malfunction in here, right? This little blip here to make the rest of your years like this? No, I have such a respect for the intelligence that is all bodies, but particularly the female form. And because that intelligence was simmering under the surface in my situation and what I went through, it was able to pierce through and make me really see that. And that's what I know allowed me to be able to heal my body. And that's what I know is allowing the women inside my community to be able to heal their bodies as well, because that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing women come to me, symptomatic like myself, very confused, but with this little feeling inside of them, something's not quite right. Like, what I'm being told is going on, and what I'm being told to expect isn't quite right. There's something that doesn't feel right. I don't want to take HRT. I don't want to take it for the rest of my life, which is what I'm being told I'm going to have to do. What's the answer? And the moment they come into my space and they hear that, women say to me, I just exhale. I exhale and I just feel like, oh, I've got answers. And this feels right to me. Like, this feels right. Because I just think to myself, if it doesn't feel empowering, then question it.
Yeah. Oh, I love this so much. And I love how, like, you were describing your story. Nothing felt right. And then as you went on, when I'm like, okay, so what's the truth? And you're like, it's this beautiful transition. I can't even duplicate what you said because it was so beautiful. We are going through an initiation, through a change of form, a change of a passage in our life. And as you're saying that, my whole body is going, yes, yes. And I know everybody listening, like, does it feel right? Because I think some people hear it and go, well, I don't know. My doctor told me. So, like, I don't know. Like, no, it doesn't feel good to think of that, but I don't know. Right. And so we want to really think about, like, does that feel right? Like, you need some prescription the rest of your life, or that it's your body withering and breaking down and basically failing, or you're going through another beautiful transition. And some of you, like myself, I haven't thought about this when it comes to menopause, perimenopause. But I truly believe in everything you're saying, the wisdom of the body. There's a lot of narratives out there about after 40, it's all downhill, or expect your hair to thin, expect the weight to gain, and I don't subscribe to any of that shit. So I love that you're bringing it up in respect to perimenopause and menopause, because I personally haven't thought about it like that. And it's such an empowering, more just yes based answer and, path to go down when you're experiencing this, when you are a woman approaching your 40s, in your 40s, and going through this phase. It's just so beautiful to think of it like we're developing our crone-ness, if you want to call it that, moving through phases of life. And it just makes so much more sense that things will change. But why is that bad? Why is that wrong? Why is that because we must be dying and decaying? Like that just doesn't make sense to me.
No, it doesn't. And I think that's the thing that we want to look. I mean, you could dig into this in the terms of the nervous system and how we work subconsciously. We really do reject change on an unconscious level, and we're taught to fear it too. And that's the common narrative, but that's what this is. It's just a beautiful change. It is a beautiful change. And that's what I want women to expect. I want women to come to expect the beauty in this. And I will also say, even if you are symptomatic, even if you are experiencing some weight gain or sleep is a little bit erratic, or maybe your hair is thinning, or there's a little bit of, you're not so mentally clear anymore, the one thing that I want women to really enter into with that is to no longer fear those. Don't see them as symptoms. They are messages. That's all they are. It's just I say this to women all the time. Please understand your body has only got one way to communicate through, and that's through sensations and symptoms. That's it. Like, it doesn't have a voice that it can speak in the words that we use, but it will speak to you through those sensations that you feel in your body and the symptoms that you're experiencing. So it's like, don't shoot the messenger. That's what we want to do. We want to medicate the messenger. Like, why medicate the messenger? It's your body's way of just saying, hey, like, things aren't quite right here. We need to shift some things up. And when we do that and you listen to your body and you make those changes, your body will respond. So even if you are someone who's like noticing the change and it's not the positive one for whatever reason, one thing I want you to do, like, I want women to know every woman can glide through perimenopause without any symptoms, without taking HRT, feeling like an absolute sovereign queen. Every single woman can. Every woman can. And that's what I want to become the standard, because the standard's mighty low at the moment. It's very, very low. So I want to raise that standard. So I want you to know this is what you can expect, and it is available to every woman. Every woman. I don't care what your history has been, whether you had fertility issues, whether you had painful periods, fibroids, endometriosis, any of those things. Please don't let your past dictate what your future is going to be. I want you to know it is all possible no matter what. We first have to believe that. We first have to surround ourselves with women who are living and breathing that. Do not surround yourself with women who are complaining about this stage. You can love them, but don't surround yourself with them. Look for women who are gliding through and experiencing that or are healing their body. So I want women to know that first and foremost. And then I want women to know if you are having those symptoms, that's just your body's way of communicating with you. That's all it is. It is not something to fear. And this is coming from a woman who feared it for 2 years. For 2 years, like, was paralyzed with fear of what was going on. And I know I went through that so that I could speak to this. I know I went through that so that I could say, I feel you. I know what it's like. And I wish I could go back in time, and I wish someone would have said to me, it's just messages, darling. That's all it is. Listen, adapt, change what needs to be changed, and everything will be fine. And that's exactly why I speak and say the things that I speak now, because I want to be that proof. I want to be that evidence that you can be on your knees, wondering what the fuck is going on, scared out of your mind, and you can heal your body and go on to make these the most beautiful years of your life. Like, if I could package this up in a pill right now and sell it, I would. I really would, because I'd love women just to get a taste of what this feels like. Because when you know what this feels like, you'll go after it because it just feels incredible. But that's what I want women to know about perimenopause, about what is to come. It's just this beautiful stage.
Yeah, I really hear you. And it's so beautiful because we are going through it. And everybody listening, you're on a self-growth and awakening journey. We are all, into the shadow work we've done, the inner child work we've done, all the stuff we've done, has been very important. But I was actually going to ask you about how you spoke on manifestation. I know you're an intuitive and all this wisdom, and all you too did all the self-growth stuff and everything you were describing. But if we don't learn to work along with our body, there is a
Oh,
massive missing piece. Whether you're 26 listening to this or 76, still listening to your body cannot be avoided, even in the quote unquote or on the manifestation journey, whatever else. So I almost wanted to hear a little bit, and then I want to ask you a couple juicy questions about what you're doing differently with like food and things. We'll get to that in a second. But I'd love to hear just your reflections now, looking back on manifestation and how, just that about the coming into the body and listening to the body piece when it comes to even
oh
the people that
my
are
God.
manifesting things.
This still feels hard to encapsulate, I think, because this was the missing piece. Like I'd done so much work in the energetic space, in the spiritual realm, okay, in other dimensions. Like so much of my work was in that space, but what was missing was the grounding in my body, okay, whether that be through the actual nerve, like the actual very 3D nervous system practices, or whether that be through things like food and movement and circadian rhythm. But that honestly is the missing piece, is actually being able to, number one, you have to listen to your body. Your body, I mean, I truly believe that the body holds all the keys. It holds all the wisdom that we need in its physical form and in its energetic form and in its spiritual form. And so many of us are working on the energetic piece. So many of us are working on the past healing and the trauma. But we're not actually supporting our physical form to be open to actually receive, to actually feel physically safe. And that, this is the thing, like, as I said, and so much of it is safety, right? And that's so much of what my work is built on when I'm like when I talk about things like food and movement and nervous, it's all about safety. But we're doing so much work to heal our emotional safety with manifestation. I think we do so much work to heal our spiritual safety, but we're not doing as much work to heal our physical safety. And that's really, really important. And I think, like, even if we talk about it from a manifestation point of view, I think that's why so many people can get really good at manifesting. So like actually receiving the thing, but when it comes to actually holding, so being able to sustain something, I see a lot of people, a lot of women really, really, really struggle with that piece. That's the body, because that's the body's capacity to be able to hold and sustain and live in the 3D world, that living, breathing reality, right? Because it's one thing to be able to close your eyes and visualize and feel, oh, what it would be like to have that job or that career or that business or that partner or that health or whatever it is. And we can feel that. And then we open our eyes and we go about our day and we eat the way we eat, we move the way we move, we live the way we live, we work the way we work, we relate the way we relate, right? And so we might, have a moment, a pocket where those things can enter our life, but it's not in alignment with what's actually going on in our body and our body's capacity to be able to actually hold and sustain that. So when we work with the physical form, in a very physical, tangible way, and this is literally how you live and breathe every single day, that is, I think, where all the pieces in the manifestation space really come together, because I think there's a huge focus on the energetic and the spiritual side, but the actual physical capacity to hold and have the strength and the openness and the safety to actually hold and sustain what it is that you're manifesting is the piece that most people want, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so learning how to actually create the body, okay, that can hold that is really, really important. And that's where we have to have conversations around sleep, food, movement, relationship, light, dark. Like that is literally, how do you live in your human body every single day?
Mm-hmm.
That's the piece. And that's really, really important. And it gets negated. Okay, it gets negated, I think, in the manifestation space a lot. And it's a very important piece of the puzzle.
Yeah, it really is. it's all the elements of what, the mental, the spiritual, the body, it all comes together. They're all very important, like some sort of beautiful flow chart. But you and I walk a similar path in that, where the body was almost the last piece. Although I have a degree in nutrition. I help people move through diets into intuitive eating and food freedom. So it's not like I haven't focused on health. I've focused on health my whole life. I came from an eating disorder, so I was already disordered in my body image. So even though I focused on health, I exercised. That doesn't mean that I knew shit about safety, as you're talking, or actually feeling okay in my body, and not just okay, thriving.
Yeah.
That's the piece. And like you said, if you could just feel a sliver of thriving, you go like, oh my gosh, what does it take to get there? And these are the changes. It's really about sinking back into your body and its rhythms, as you're saying, and less about, like you said, outsourcing to some guy in a lab coat and some prescription that's forever, and more about what is my body telling me and asking me to do. So I just really feel like that was such a missing piece for myself as well. And I was thinking about, you were talking about manifestation and then the body. And I was thinking, especially perimenopause or menopausal women who are on a self-growth journey, have been trying to manifest. Now all these things are happening in their body, mad at themselves because they can't manifest, but it's this whole sort of mess. Whereas it really sounds like the work you do and with your clients, it just helps to clear that noise, because when you can be settled in your body and then thriving in your body, as you said, that's where you attract those things that you were kind of, going for in a different way.
Yeah. And I think the thing that was so fascinating to me, because like you, I mean, I have a passion for nutrition. I've worked in the movement space for a number of years. I've had a very distorted relationship with my body my entire life. So very similar backgrounds to this. And what was so fascinating to me is that so much. So initially, like what I went through was, first when you're going through is you try and control your body. Like that's the first thing you do. And then you realize that doesn't work, and you kind of find yourself in the mindset space. And you're like, well, maybe I'll try and control things through the mind. And then it's the energy. And we're all just it's like we're always trying to fix something, right? And I know for me, the moment I started listening to my body and stopped seeing it as a problem, whether there was symptoms or anything, or even like the physical, like looking at your bank account and not seeing that as a problem, or looking at your relationship and not seeing that as a problem, but just seeing them as messages that were coming back. It was just information that was actually just being relayed to me in a way that I could actually see and understand. It started to change things. But what I noticed was that the more I sort of worked on the physical, the more the rest of it righted itself, right? So even just talking about anxiety, like I've lived with anxiety since I was 11 years old, on or off, it's kind of, undulated. And I'd spent so many times trying to fix that symptom of anxiety. But the moment that I actually started supporting my physical form, the anxiety, both the thought, like the actual mental anxiety, so the looping thoughts that you have, of the fear-based looping thoughts of the future that you have, started to quieten down. The actual sensations in the body started to quieten down as well. So I'd spent so much time trying to change my thinking, right? Trying to deal with even like the breath work. And by the way, I'm not negating these things. I think all of it works in conjunction, okay? But it was like when I started, the way that I look at even just food, if we take food, for instance, like I don't look like, we're taught to look at food through calories and even macros, right? How much protein, how much carbs, how much fat. I don't. I look through safety. I look at food as through the lens of safety. It's either noise and it's stimulating the body, okay, or it's sending messages of safety to the body. It's like, what does the message of protein send to the body? Carbs, fat, like all of that. That's how I look at it. And even the moment of actually shifting my perception and relationship with food and feeding my body safety every day through that lens, the anxiety, the mental, everything quietened, okay? The anxious sensations I used to feel in my body, the tension started melting away because I was feeding my body, my physical form safety. And even if we think about how, how the nervous system really works, it's a bottom-up approach. It's like the body is communicating 80% of those messages through to the brain, and yet we spend most of our approach in a top-down approach trying to change the thoughts that we're feeding back into our body. But I'm like, the moment you start nurturing the body, so yes, the actual nervous system, but also the physical engine, the way we power our body through our exposure to light as well. All of those things, when we start to actually do that, it's amazing what shifts take place. Like all these things that I'd spent so long trying to reframe in my mind and subconsciously change. It's like, oh, wow, I just got out in the sun in the morning and got light in my eyes for 20 minutes before anything else. I fed my body, a beautiful, nourishing meal full of all the safety signals my body needs to know that it has enough energy in its system to be able to fuel and fire up every function in the body. I'm moving my body in a way that my body responds to that feels nourishing for the feminine nervous system and the feminine form. Okay, yes, I'm breathing the way, I'm cycling my breath the way it's meant to. Like I'm doing all those things and my body's like, oh, okay, it just sinks into all of those thoughts. It's like those thoughts just start radiating. Those become the dominant thoughts. Mm-hmm. I'm like, it almost feels like witchery, right? It's like, how bizarre that I've spent all this time trying to, don't think this thought instead. Okay, like change this pattern. And again, that work has its place. It absolutely does. But what was mind-blowing to me in this entire process was when I sent my body these very core safety signals, which is what I teach in all my work, through food, through movement, through nervous system mindset, and through circadian rhythm. I was like, oh, these thoughts that I've been trying to make myself think just naturally emanate out from my form. And so does and then it changes the frequency. Then we could go into what radiates out in your toroidal field. Like, I could riff on this stuff for a lifetime, right? But all of that is to say is that the body usually is the last terrain for so many of us. But it is, I think, the most powerful terrain, without a doubt.
Yeah. And especially to bring it kind of full circle at this point in our lives. You touched on something about we go through our different phases and then there's like the mothering, and whether you have a kid or not, you're, out in the work world, you're people pleasing, you're pouring back, maybe you're taking care of your, parents, whatever it is that you've got going on. It's the go, go, go and all of that. And then we transition into this time in our life where it is time to deeply nourish ourselves. So, as Gemma's saying, and as I'm saying, if you haven't turned your focus toward the body and listening to the body, especially in this time, as you started out saying, it's going to start knocking, and it's going to start knocking louder, giving you symptoms, because it's time in your life to focus on you. And it's time in your body. Your body needs something from you at a different level. It needs different nurturing than it may be used to. So I love, feeling that when it comes to growth and evolution and even awakening. It's like we're moving out of this people pleasing, all of our energy splayed in a million things and, trying to juggle it all. I'm a professional and I'm a mom and I'm a this. And we're leaving so much of that shit behind. The narrative's changing, time in our life, we're changing. And it's really time to come back into your body as you're saying, Gemma, and it's just so powerful. So as we start to wrap this up, I would love to hear even just a few nuggets for your personal experience when it comes to food. You were just touching on it. Food, rest, circadian rhythm, that type of thing, but just a few things that have changed in the last couple of years for you in your daily habits that you think have made a huge difference when it comes to those types of things.
Look, here's the thing. Food is really important. Food is very, very important. And most women, that's the first place they go to, because one of the biggest symptoms or messages that the body sends as we're transitioning through perimenopause and menopause usually is weight gain. Women start to notice some sort of shift, particularly around their midsection. They don't really like it. So we have been absolutely taught that that's a food-related issue. So I talk a lot about food. I've got a great food cheat sheet that we'll make available for people to be able to access as well, that kind of gives people the ins and outs of what changes I made and what I've really come to understand about food. But what I will say to you is food is only one signal, okay? It's what we've got to understand first before I go into food is that what you're experiencing with perimenopause, even if it's weight gain, by the way, it's not a food problem. It's a nervous system problem. Okay, it's a nervous system problem. That's what's got to be addressed. And so we can't, in the way that food is generally taught, I don't believe that we can actually treat a nervous system problem with food. But that doesn't mean food's not a piece of the puzzle. It's just we have to start thinking about food differently. And that's the core nugget I want to give women. We've been taught calories in, calories out, calorie counting. We've been taught macros, all of those things. Our body doesn't understand that. Yes, it understands macronutrients and micronutrients, but it understands safety signals, okay? Protein and really are the building blocks. Okay, we need that. It's like the foundation. It's like the slab of a house, okay? And that's how our body reads that. Without that foundation, it's very, very hard for our body to actually respond and let go of the protective mechanisms that it's building up through the symptoms that we're experiencing. So the one thing I want people to do is to stop, please stop counting calories, okay? Stop looking at the back of your packaged food, if that's what you're eating, and looking at how many calories it has and things like that. Start to see things as safety signals, and that's it. So protein is like the foundational safety signal that we need. Mm-hmm. And the way that I look at fat and carbohydrates, even if we look at it this way, is that fat is long-term safety, okay? Mm-hmm. It signals to the body that I am truly, deeply safe, like down in the root, down in the core of who I am. Carbohydrates is short-term safety. So even if people always want to know, how do you eat? I don't eat a lot of carbohydrates, okay? I don't eat, okay? But here's the thing, because I see so much rhetoric around this. Oh, you can lose the weight without cutting out carbohydrates. This is not about demonizing a food group. It's not about demonizing carbohydrates. It's just about understanding the role that they play. And we generally will have a higher carbohydrate diet because we are feeling a sense of insecurity, and we're trying to band-aid that with short-term safety solutions. And that's what carbohydrates are. Any carbohydrate, whether that's natural or processed or highly processed or anything like that. Okay. So I just want you to start to think about, what are the safety signals you want to send to your body? Okay. It's like, how can we nourish our body with the foundation that is there to create a stable system, which is protein? How can we send our body long-term safety signals so that we can actually exhale, which is really important. And the other thing which is fat. Okay. We've been taught to fear fat. If you're in your 40s, you grew up in skinny culture, low fat culture. Everything was cut the fat off your meat, low fat yogurt, low fat milk, low fat cheese, low fat this, skim that, watered down this, all that. Yeah, right. And first of all, it tastes like absolute shit, let's be honest, because fat is flavor. But what it actually does is strips your body of that core safety signal for long-term safety. And the other thing that's really important that women don't seem to, with this information, has never emanated out, because cholesterol has been demonized, but cholesterol is the precursor to our sex hormones. Without cholesterol, our body can't fucking make sex hormones. Like, no wonder we've got, the issues that our kids have got these days. They're going into, getting their menstruating earlier than ever before. We've got fertility issues through the roof. And then we've got women transitioning through the worst menopause transition in history. And I'm telling you, a huge part of that is because cholesterol has been demonized, and our bodies literally do not have the ingredients to make it. They don't have the ingredients to make it. So we need fat. We need lots of beautiful, natural, whole animal fats in our diet. And we focus on those, and we eat to satiety, okay, which I think in the early, I do believe, I'm all for intuitive eating. I intuitively eat now. I do believe that women do well with some sort of structure as they start to listen to their body and get their body back online, reduce the noise, get all their hormones, the digestive hormones functioning properly. And then I think intuitive eating is 1,000,000% the way to go. And that's what we want to be moving every single woman towards, is intuitively listening to your body, not going, I've got a carb cycle because I'm at this stage in my cycle and I've got to eat this way, because it's just like, what is your body asking of you? But structure, I think we need structure for that. So that's one of the nuggets I really want. And that's a deeper dive. I go into that inside my perimenopause food cheat sheet as well. I do go into talking about that, about, really reducing the noise with food, stop using it as a crutch for comfort and safety, which we do a lot. Start listening to your body so you're not so dependent on food to actually provide these things to you. So it's about changing your relationship with food and just seeing food as this beautiful safety signal that we can tap into and access, that sends all of those messages to our body so our body can exhale and let go of a lot of those symptoms. Food's important. I will say one of the most important things, though, from where I'm sitting, is circadian rhythm, without a doubt. Mm-hmm. So that is living in alignment with our sun and moon cycles, hands down. It is so incredibly important. There is a reason that all of the planets in the solar system revolve around the fucking sun. Okay. There is a reason for that. All right. The sun is everything. So is the moon. Light, dark cycles are everything. We have a clock in our brain that is programmed by the sun. All right. So getting yourself outside, getting as much natural light as possible, minimizing as much artificial light as possible is all really, really critical. And when we really focus on those things, along with the other safety signals I talk about, movement, how to move in alignment with being a woman, okay, and the nervous system work as well, your body will start responding. So that's my long-winded answer to the nuggets, okay? Look at it as safety signals, okay? Absolutely start to rewire your relationship with food, and definitely start working on your dark and light exposure as much as possible, because that does a huge amount to reprogram your entire hormonal system. Because what's super important is that this is not just a sex hormone story. This is an entire endocrine story that we're going through with perimenopause. And cortisol is the master hormone. And sun does everything to regulate cortisol through our body. So that's what's super important from where I'm sitting.
Thank you so much. That is so powerful. And I just appreciate everything you shared. Thank you. Thank you so much. It's been such a powerful conversation. Can you go into letting us know the free gift, the cheat sheet that you were talking about, and some places that people can find you if they want to follow along on your journey?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can go and download the perimenopause food cheat sheet. We'll make that available for everyone. And that really is where I share the food protocol. I share that really important safety signal. Again, it's about reframing your relationship with food. And I really teach you the foundations of how to feed your body safety so that it can exhale and let go of the protective mechanisms that's building up around perimenopause, whether that's the weight, the insomnia, the brain fog, all the things. Okay.
Wow.
I do have my entire 4 signals method in a video course, which is accessible anytime, which is the perimenopause reset. It is a 6-week course broken into 3 phases. So I phase things out because I don't want to fire hose people with all these changes. It's like, how can we make incremental changes that get you really quick results? So you start to feel that shift. The women that come into my program notice changes in days. 3 days, women are messaging me saying, the bloat is gone. I'm sleeping again. My mind is back online. 3 days. Okay.
Wow.
3 days, you will notice a difference. But I step you out inside the entire program on how to do that. You get a 6-week plan, how to eat, how to move your body, how to align with circadian rhythm, the nervous system, the simple nervous system practices, hypnosis, all of the tools are inside that perimenopause reset. We're giving you 20% off that until the 31st of May. That's just a special here for anyone listening to this. And in terms of finding me, right now, okay, my Instagram has been suspended. However, hopefully by the time this goes live or anyone listens to this, you'll be able to find me at the Queens of Perimenopause on Instagram. If you cannot find me there, please go to YouTube, to the Queens of Perimenopause on YouTube. I'm starting up my YouTube channel and my podcast. It's going to be launched in the next 2 weeks from now. This has been the kick out of the nest, right? For that. This has been the kick out of the nest to get that going. So you find me on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, Instagram at the Queens of Perimenopause. That's the best place to find me.
Thank you so much. And that free gift and the 20% off, thank you so much. I'm going to put that in the show notes below. And if you guys are part of the Insider Circle, it's already been sent to your inbox. So thank you again, Gemma. There's so much here. And I just really appreciate the work you do and your time today. So thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to the True Transformation Summit. Make sure to take what this guest said, implement it into your life, check the show notes for their gift and to follow along on the journey, and make sure to tune in to the next guest episode. Namaste.